I'm Lenny Terenzi. I'm 42. Ugh. I am a screen printer, designer, illustrator, and one of my proudest accomplishments is I'm currently on the board of AIGA Raleigh. My title is the Director of Uniting People. We have interesting titles in our chapter. We like to get creative with how we do things here.
So as Director of Uniting People, what does that involve?
I probably boils down to just I absolutely am so passionate about AIGA and about our creative community. We have an extremely strong chapter. You know, I was fortunate enough to walk into, you know, such a well-built organization already that I was able to kind of just hit the ground running and be me, and just, you know, kind of let people know that we're very accepting, we're very open, we're very welcoming. It's not doesn't matter if you're a student, second career, third career, 23, 42, 60, come and hang out with us. It doesn't matter if you're not a designer, you know. Our president is a writer. We don't even have a designer for a president. She's a writer. Love it. I think it's the best thing ever. The perspectives that she can, you know, give and she brings. She's a very creative person. But she's not that traditional designer role that I would imagine almost every chapter's president is. So yeah, I think I just go about doing it by just being genuine and people seeing the passion that I have for the chapter and they want to be part of that.
Gotcha. So, you know, you talked to kind of backing up a bit. You talked about, you know, you went from being kind of a closed off person, very introverted and all, to being very open. How did that come about?
I think it was still a combination of both personal and professional things. You know, in my life, as everybody's life, there's always the dark years. And mine involved divorce and life change and all those kind of things. And so through that, I surrounded myself with people just to help build myself up and kind of just feel comfortable in what was my new skin. And then I said, I kind of need to do that professionally as well. So I actively sought out AIGA and just kind of stayed on the periphery for a little while. And one of the things with AIGA Raleigh, we don't let people stay on the periphery. We know when there's somebody new. We poll people and say, you know, who's been here for the first time, you know, who's never been to a meeting, whatever. And, you know, and it's my job and other members' job at the end of the meeting, we go talk to them and we pull them in and things like that. So, you know, and the same thing happened to me. I was kind of dragged kicking and screaming from my safe little cave, you know, into the greater kind of into the light a little bit. So that's kind of, you know, I was almost kind of pulled into it. And then, again, the same thing that I try to give to people is that passion for our community. I got kind of sucked into, you know, we call it drinking the Kool-Aid around here. And yeah, we just don't let people hang in the periphery. We want to bring stuff out of people. And that's kind of what happened to me is they got their hooks in me, and man, I had to give back. You know, I wanted to be part of that.
How have you worked AIGA into your work-life balance?
For me, like I can't imagine not having AIGA anymore in my life and in my career. I think I'm a lifer. Some people definitely come and go. It's jobs, it's life, it's burnout, it's whatever. I've chosen to make AIGA the place that I go to combat all that stuff, you know, to get recharged, to get a boost, and to use it to just enhance, you know, my career and my job. I mean, you know, my role on the board, like I said, is Director of Uniting People, which means, you know, making the community stronger and getting to know and meet people. And you can't beat that for what we do. I mean, I know everybody in Raleigh, and I'm quickly learning to meet everybody in Durham and just surrounding myself, not just with contacts. I think it's kind of one of the other things I might have said in my talk or alluded to is I'm not networking. I'm literally reaching out and making personal connections and asking stories and talking about stories and what do they need from us and things like that. So it's kind of it's kind of a, I think it's almost the thing that brings the balance to the work and to the life. Like it's actually that, you know, that point where the teeter-totter sits on. I almost consider that AIGA for me.
And how has AIGA, you know, since that time, how do you think AIGA has changed your life?
Well, for me, you know, the very first meeting I ever went to, you know, I went to an event first. Von Glitchka was here speaking. This was several years ago now. And I went to an event. The place was packed. The energy was great. I was like, oh, this is really cool. It's like, I like this. And you know, bringing in somebody, you know, a heavy hitter like Von is always like a good way to kind of, you know, introduce yourself to the whole thing. And probably a month or two went by, and you know, I said, I'm going to go ahead and go to a meeting. You know, my first community meeting here, and I did what a lot of people do. You know, first day of school, what do? You grab the back desk in the corner, you know, so nobody kind of, you know, sees you and calls on you. And a couple of guys came up with cameras and said, "Hey, you mind if we put you on video and ask you a couple questions?" And I was like, "Oh." I was like, I just want to be, no, I'm anonymous. You know, I kind of wanted to get the lay of the land. And so I was like, I threw out what I figured would be the kind of the clincher for me to get out of it. And I said, oh, this is my very first meeting. I know nothing about what's going on here. And they were like, oh, that's even better. Come on. Crap. Okay. So I was like, all right, I'm game. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're uncomfortable, you probably need to do it to take another step ahead. That's one of the things I'm really a strong proponent of now, man, is if it makes you afraid, it's probably exactly what you need to do. So I went and sat down, and they said, we're starting a program where we want to give designers money to pursue something that they haven't been able to pursue because perhaps money was a barrier. You know, so what's something you've just kind of wanted to learn or do, but maybe haven't because you just needed a little extra cash. And at that point, you know, kind of reinventing myself and coming out of my cave and being an all digital designer for so many years, I wanted to get back to creating and making physical objects and things with my hands again. So I said I would like to open a screen printing and letterpress. At that point, I said letterpress shop. And they said, okay, great, thanks. And I went to the meeting, and I went to some more meetings, and I kind of came and went in that period. You know, I wasn't like drinking the Kool-Aid yet, but I was involved.
Yeah, but I still feel like, you know.
And so at that point, a couple months later, they said, hey, we want to give you the money. We think that's a great idea. And so they gave me $1,000, close to $1,000 to learn how to screen print and buy equipment, and no strings attached. I didn't have to pay it back. They just said, give back to the community in some way. And so that is really kind of backtracking to what we said is, you know, what got me so involved was here I am, somebody they didn't know, or at that point had barely known for a few months. And they handed me a large sum of money and said, go, and all we ask is you just give back in whatever way that is. And so to me, that was such a huge, like, what? You know, like, are you serious? So my allegiance, like, right there was cemented. I was like, wow, this is special. You know, this is something special.
Gotcha. Overall, how does AIGA Raleigh work within the community or work for the community?
We're definitely different than other AIGA chapters, and that is not to say that any other AIGA chapter is doing it wrong or whatever, but what had happened was, like, back in, I think, let's see, 12, like 2008, 2010, you know, economy drops out, you know, so nonprofits and organizations like us, you know, money wasn't coming in, and we needed to kind of sit there, you know, and when I say we, I wasn't involved at all. I say we now just because I'm so used to doing that. AIGA Raleigh kind of sat back and said, you know, something's got to change. You know, we need to look at, you know, our community and not just go by these kind of boxed, you know, rules that everybody kind of seems to go by. You know, what's different about us? How, you know, what's our community like? What are we known for? And our president, Matt Munoz, you know, who also you probably saw speak at Creative South then, our president then, just threw everything out the window, just everything that we had ever done out the window. And we kind of started from scratch, kind of rebranding and re-mission statementing. There's a whole new word for you. You know, ourselves as the AIGA Raleigh design community. And that's really our name. You know, most chapters are AIGA and their city or their region, and we call ourselves the AIGA Raleigh design community. We wanted to put it front and center that we were an open door and a safe place and a place of inspiration for everybody. So, you know, the way we did things is we set up ownership to people. We created we have a thing called the community board. So the elected board, you know, you hold your elections and you submit your slate to national, and, you know, they have your names and everything on file. You're the board for that chapter. But what we do is we have a community board. So, for instance, somebody like me came into the scene, and all of a sudden I was everywhere. I was volunteering for everything. I was doing stuff. I was a people person. People were starting to show up to meetings and saying that I'm the one who brought them there. Oh, Lenny was telling me about this. So they kind of said, man, this Lenny guy really seems to have a penchant and a knack for preaching our gospel, you know, for lack of a better term, and getting people excited to come out. And, you know, so the presidents, we had co-presidents at that time, said to me, would you like to be on the community board as the volunteer and community organizer? And I was like, I would love that. What is the community board? And what the community board is it's a way for us to elevate members up, give them a title and kind of a job, and give them ownership over the chapter a little bit. You know, they feel like they have something. You know, they can go out and say, I'm on the community board of AIGA Raleigh. I'm the community and volunteer organizer. And what that allows people to do is, again, it gives them that sense of ownership, so they feel some excitement. They feel some passion. They feel maybe a little bit more allegiance because they kind of want to, you know, we've given them something. We're like, hey, we think a lot of you. We would love for you to help us with this task. Almost like a long-term volunteer. And what we do with that is we then look at that community board, and when it comes time for elections, we've got these people that we've been grooming for a year or 2 years, and we've worked with them and we know them, and we can see their passion, and it kind of helps. You know, it's like putting everything in a strainer and starting to shake it, and what's left in the strainer.
So it's like your minor league training program.
It is. It's very much like our AAA kind of thing before we, you know, call you up to the big show. And anybody can do it. It's not, you know, it's not exclusive by any means. Nothing here is exclusive. It's just people that naturally step up, because you can tell somebody, you know, oh, I want to volunteer. Okay, well, you go do this. Well, what if they really suck at that? They're probably not going to be passionate about it, and they're going to just kind of fall off. But if somebody just keeps coming and keeps doing something of their own accord because they're passionate about it, man, grab them, make up a damn title, give it to them. You know, you're the director of folding paper because holy crap, you fold that paper well, you know. But again, it gives them a sense of ownership. Events almost entirely happen because somebody said, wouldn't it be cool if ... And then we look at that person and go, yes, it would. You are running that event. Because again, let's give ownership, right? So that's how events start. We were, one of our goals several years ago was, you know, we need to get some recurring income coming into the chapter. You know, that nice, steady, where we know every month we've got some money coming in. You know, you hope you have that with your memberships, and you do, but it's never, memberships really probably is never the way that a chapter is really going to become financially solvent. You get money, and National, you know, does great support. You know, they're phenomenal to, you know, at doing that. But, you know, you definitely got to look at your own community and your own, you know, what you can bring and what they can bring to the table. So we wanted to do some recurring income, and one of our members said, well, why don't we do, you know, a lunch and learn series, you know, a skill-based lunch and learn, hour and a half, bring local people in, all local, so we can, again, from within our community, who's our local heroes. And, you know, an hour and a half, and it's a lunch and learn on, you know, design and development and inspirational stories and things like that. And that's, you know, we're now into our 4th year or 5th year of homegrown, and it brings in on average $10,000 to $12,000 a year. You know, that's pretty darn good. That's one of the events, you know, that we charge for. We do a lot of just community-based events that are free. We have our Dine and Draw. I'm sure you've seen me tweet about Dine and Draw up here incessantly. You know, every month we do a Dine and Draw event. It's a free event. It's open to anybody. We just get together and we draw. Sometimes we have local artists kind of lead a little, you know, little session. Last month we did a monster drawing class, you know, and it was great. So we just, it all starts with the germ of an idea, and just we follow through with it. You know, we give, either we follow through with it as a board because we come up with it, or somebody comes to us and says, I think this is a great idea. And if they came up with the idea, there's nobody that's going to be more passionate or ready to run it than that person. So we say, great, get it going, and you will have the full support of the board and the community behind you for whatever you need, you know, marketing, blah, 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 blah. So again, it gives that ownership back, and it kind of starts that circle of life.
Well, speaking of the circle of life, since we're a new chapter, what advice would you give to us as a chapter and our members to sustain this and to grow it?
Yeah. And so I'm going to obviously give it from the unique AIGA Raleigh perspective, because that's what I know the best. But man, make it about your community. Find what makes your community tick and what is special about it, and feed that and give to that, and, you know, make it about the community. You know, one of the things that we do is the community meeting every month. It's our board meeting essentially, but it's open to the public. And we spill everything. Here's what we got going on. Here's what's coming up. Here's how much money we made. Here, I mean, everything. We are an open book. We're a nonprofit. We have to be an open book. We're supposed to be an open book. So, you know, make it about that. Make it about community. You know, give to the members. You know, start setting up those free events. You know, get them going. You know, maybe the events are free to members, and to start, they're $5 to non-members. So make your barrier entry low for the people who are outside looking in. As well. One of the things we do is right now, there is nothing that you can't do when you're not a member with us. It just may cost you a few extra bucks. We have everything open to everybody, save for our board dinner, where we get just the board together once a month to just really kind of do some nitty-gritty planning. And then we have a yearly all-day retreat that we do that's kind of board, community board. But other than that, everything we do is open to the public and open to anybody. So that's my biggest thing, is to just be totally transparent and welcoming to everybody. You know, I think a lot of people can be wary of joining an organization, and what does that entail? And I'm going to be asked to do stuff, or is it going to be the right fit for me? And I think if you let the people shape how you operate and listen to them and look at them, then you'll be a success.
Cool. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Number one, congratulations. That's fantastic. We gave you guys a shout out at our event last night because, you know, Diane was there. So we were able to give a shout out to have somebody from the newest chapter in the United States, you know, at our event. So congratulations, number one.
Thank you.
You know, number two, definitely reach out to all chapters, but specifically, you know, I can guarantee you that the entire AIGA Raleigh board is an open book for whatever you guys need. You know, we've got everything, you know, from our bylaws to our branding guides and standards and everything, you know, we're willing to share. I would still love to live Skype sometime, or some of us could live Skype, or maybe we could even try to do a meeting where we're doing our community meeting when you're doing your meeting, and we can just live, you know. I think it would be just interesting to kind of start doing those connections. And first and third, let's do an event together. Let's find some people and try to do something together.
I think that's a great idea.
Because that's, you know, again, that's what community is. We're each building our own communities, but we are 70 chapters of this wonderful, amazing organization that has been around for 100 years, almost 101 now. That is crazy. You know, 101 years. So let's, you know, definitely reach outside our own community to the other ones, because it'll just make it stronger.
Great. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to talk about AIGA.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited.
My name's Christina. I'm currently a graphic designer at St. Augustine's University.
My name is Stephanie, and I'm a graphic designer.
Good. Hi, I'm Aaron.
I am Lenny Terenzi.
I'm John,
painter, social media marketing.
My name is
Hannah
Carlos
Hoffman, and
Torres. I'm a graphic designer and a freelance illustrator. I've only been here for a few minutes, and everybody that I've talked to is really open and eager to talk about their ideas. And it's exciting, you know, it's different.
What I really like about the AIGA Raleigh community is that it's got a wide range of practices. We've got designers, web developers, writers, people from all different skill sets. And on top of that, there seems to be a sort of energy with the chapter, a motivation to make a difference, and people eager to do more in their community.
It makes me feel recharged. Yeah, today is a good case in point. It was one of those days where the creative juices weren't flowing, and I said, I'll go to the, when I go to the meeting tonight, I'll get that kick in the pants, I'll get that recharge that I need. And that's always what happens. You kind of walk out of here feeling kind of ready to tackle the world a little bit more.
I think it's a confidence boost. When you graduate from college, you get out in the real world, you don't know what you're doing. So you come to a community meeting and people reassure you that you're on the right path. So that's been a real boost for me, and also getting me more out into the design community.
Being able to impact the future and people's lives and their careers in a positive way is really important. That's something that I love about it, and that's probably what's going to bring me back and have me volunteer and try to play more of a part in what's going on, because that's really important to me to be able to help.
Honestly, what keeps me coming back is we just keep exploring new things and new ways to make this chapter better.
Through creativity, through design, that can really speak more to people. It can touch them in a way, in a human way. So it's more powerful to communicate with that than it is through any other medium. And when you have a community of people who believe in that and who understand it and use it as a tool to make good things happen, then, I don't know. It's a satisfying endeavor to be a part of.